Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to part 2 of my palette battle tournament for round 1. I filmed my the first part of this yesterday, and since it was a really long video I decided to split it, and I also need some rest. So today we're going to be focusing on the rest of my collection. I'm gonna randomly generate 2 different palettes from my Tiny Decisions app, and those 2 palettes will be battling against each other, and the winner will then move towards second round, where the same thing will happen again. So this way we're finally, or hopefully, we'll be able to determine which of my palettes is like the winner, the all-time champion. And yeah, this is really exciting. It was so much fun yesterday and really interesting to like think about all of my palettes and what I like about them, don't like about them, and genuinely like realize where they stand for me when it comes to like the hierarchy and kind of my preferences and all that. So I hope you're gonna enjoy this video. Comment down below what is your like favorite palette in your collection. Like this video, that would really help me out. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I do a lot of like ranking videos, panning projects, reviews, and like collection videos. So I would really appreciate having you here, and I upload every single day. So now let's get into this. This is again gonna be a very long video. So we went through like around half of my collection yesterday. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I have 14 palettes that have already been chosen to move towards to the second round. So that should be around half of my palette collection. And now the first 2 palettes in this video will be the Beauty Below from Blend Bunny and the Divination, also from Blend Bunny. Okay, I own 4 palettes. 3 are in this Tiny Decisions app. 1 isn't, because today was my first time actually trying it, and since I've like written all the palettes down yesterday, it's not actually present in there. So technically in this like wheel, I only have 3 Blend Bunny palettes, and somehow we landed on 2 of them right now. So let me get those. And I know which of these 2 is my favorite. Like it's very easy to decide, but I'm gonna talk about both of them just so that you know what are my favorite things and not so favorite things about these. So I'm gonna start with the Beauty Below. As I said, this is from Blend Bunny. I bought all of these at Glisten Cosmetics because I'm from EU and there are 2 places that I can shop for these brands. One is Monolith, which is a European indie brand reseller, and then for Blend Bunny I can also get them at Glisten, and since I have a discount code with Glisten Cosmetics, I usually purchase all my Blend Bunny palettes there. So if you are from UK or Europe and you want to get some money off, there are discount codes on Monolith as well, but I think you only get 5% discount, and with Glisten I have like 15% or something like that. Like it's a little bit more. And I don't have a code with Monolith yet, even though I've applied multiple months ago. So this is the Beauty Below, and it looks beautiful. Like I love looking at this. It's gorgeous. It's very like dark mermaid theme. But for me, with my like skin depth, it's a little bit too dark, and I need to mix this with like more pastel-y lighter colors. And that's not a problem for me, but if I buy a big palette, and this is 24 pan palette, I would expect to kind of have all of my options. You don't even have inner corner shades. Like all of these are too dark to be used in the inner corner for most people, unless you have like a really deep skin tone. all of these are gonna be too dark for you. So, and I know that not everybody uses like inner corner highlights, but most people do. And you don't have that option here. Like the lightest one is this, and then kind of this one, but this one has a bit of a dark base anyways. And then this one also looks really light, but again, it has a darker base. So the lightest one is this, and it's actually not that light because again, it has like a deeper, almost magenta base. So for me, I do need to mix this, and if this was smaller palette, like if this was 12 pan or 15 pan palettes, I wouldn't have that much of an issue. But for 24 eyeshadows, to not have anything that I can use in my inner corner or as like a blending out shade, the lightest one that I can use that way, well, there's two, is the Abduction and then this one, which is Murky Waters, I believe. But they're very neutrally, and I don't like neutrals as like a blending out shades. I like something a little bit more colorful. What I do like about this one though is that it's magnetic. Oh, and my other criticism of this palette is that a lot of the deep shimmers are very similar, and they look very similar on the eyes. Like one is more green, one is more gray, one is more purple, one is more berry, but they are so dark and not shifty, so they look very similar. And you also have a lot of like similar colors here. Like these two are very similar. The purples, very similar. It's just a little bit like, for how big it is, you don't really have that much of a variety. This could have been a like 12 pan, maybe 16 pan palette, and you would get the exact same thing. Like I could take out some of these shades and make it into a 16 pan palette and nothing would change. I would still get the same color story, the same eye looks out of it, because there's not enough of variety in depth and undertone. So that's this one, but it's beautiful to look at. Like I genuinely love looking at this. It just leaves a bit to be desired, quite a bit actually. And then the second one is the Robert Welsh collaboration with Blend Bunny. This is called the Divination Pad. This one is like a 30 pan, I believe. Yeah, 5 columns, 6 rows, 30 pan palette. And you have everything. You have light shades, dark shades, you have some neutrals, you have all sorts of different colors. And for me, I kind of have everything that I could ask for in this palette. The shimmers could be slightly better. They are definitely more on the basic side when it comes to like indie brands, but and like the Beauty Below has slightly nicer shimmers, like they're slightly more sparkly, but these are lighter and they're more easier for me to use. Like it's shades and undertones and colors that I just incorporate into my looks a lot more often. So for me, this round or like this little battle definitely goes towards the Divination Pad. I just like it more. I think it's a great one. I also love this theming, and yeah, the shades that he picked are genuinely really, really good. So that's for the Divination. This one is going back to my collection. This one is going back to my collection. And now let's get 2 more palettes. So it's gonna be the Muse palette against the Haunted Europe. Okay, this will be so hard to pick. Okay, so we have the Cosmic Beauty Muse palette. And this is a great palette. I've used it many, many times. I already have like 2 pans here, and it's a great color story. I always say that this is like my perfect neutral palette because it has the beautiful like greenish, kind of mustardy olive tones, and then these beautiful like autumnal tones that I just adore, and they fit my preferences so well. So this one is one of my favorite palettes, and it's kind of like the perfect neutral palette for me, even though technically we don't really have that many like neutral shades. But you know that I don't use those anyways. So that's the Muse. Incredible Formula. Cosmic Beauty is such a great brand because they're very inexpensive. I think they're one of the, except like maybe Colourpop or Glam Shop, they're the least expensive brand that I own. But they always create these beautiful palettes. The color stories are amazing, matte shades are incredible, and the shimmers are also so beautiful, so great. They don't crease, and they just look so pretty on the eyes. So I don't know how they do it, but I really like their formulas, their quality. And then we have the Haunted Europe palette from Nomad. This is an older palette, but I actually only tried it this year and very recently. I bought it like at the beginning of the year or in the spring, but I didn't have time to review it until late summer. So I don't have that much experience with this. I think I've only used this palette for maybe like 8 to 10 different looks when I was reviewing it and hauling it. And this is definitely Nomad's older formula. So the mattes are still great, but the shimmers are very lackluster. Now Nomad makes better shimmers than this, but this is a very lackluster palette. And recently I ranked my like newest palettes in my collection, and I said that I would never get rid of this one because or at least in the first, at least this year and then like next year, because it's a very nice color story and I love the packaging, which is still true. But I was actually going through a lot of my palettes lately, also thanks to this, and I realized that this is not as unique color story as I originally thought. I can do this with some of my other palettes. I don't really have like a one palette that I can dupe this with, but I have a couple of palettes that I can like put this all together. And since I only really like the mattes, and I have these mattes in my other palette, and one of my friends told me that she would like to try this palette because she really likes the color story and she doesn't like very sparkly shimmers. So if she still wants this, I'll just give it to her because you know it makes more sense if she's gonna enjoy it. I have so many palettes that I'm probably not gonna really use it too much until like next fall, and even then it's not gonna be the one that I'm gonna be reaching for the most. So if my friend will still want this one, I'll just give it to her. It just seems like a better option. So it's pretty obvious that I prefer the Muse. I prefer the Muse over a lot of palettes when it comes to like an everyday and like the palette that I would probably get the most uses out of if I stopped all my projects and like didn't focus on anything and just use my collection naturally. This one would be one of those palettes that would have the most uses probably. So it makes sense that this one is the winner for now. And yeah, and I don't know if I'm gonna keep the Haunted Europe, even though it's really pretty and like I wouldn't declutter it, but if my friend wants it more than me, then I just see no reason to keep it. I have so many palettes, like I don't need to be greedy. And I know that she would really like to try this brand. Also, she's very into like spooky stuff, and she also studies history just like me, so this would be perfect palette for her. And that way I can get her into more colorful palettes. So next, oh, this is the Fuji palette. One of my favorites. My favorite Nomad palette, definitely. Again, Fairy Tale Europe. Okay, I'll get those two. So if you watch my channel regularly, you would know that I have filmed my Nomad Cosmetics ranking not that long ago. I mean, it was after I've reviewed the Salem palette, and that was like 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 now. So yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I've uploaded my Nomad Cosmetics ranking, and these were my top 2 palettes, I believe. Like, they are my top 2 palettes. I don't know if I rank them that way in the... Yeah, I must have. So, my favorite Nomad palettes. And this is the Fuji 5 Lakes. It's the most beautiful palette Nomad has ever created. Both like the color story, which is, I mean, look at that, and the artwork on it, the most beautiful. And it's my favorite palette from them. Like it's my favorite palette. I don't know if they can top this. And the funny thing is, this is not even a color story that I would necessarily put together, but the more I look at it, the more autumn it looks. Like it just, this is what I see when you say autumn now. It needs to be this. And I also have one pen, which I'm so happy about because this is genuinely such a great palette and I've been using it a lot this year. I mean, I've used it a lot last year as well, but this year I made sure to no pen left behind it and just like really cherish it and use it a lot for this season because I really love reaching into this. It always makes me so happy. It always inspires me to try something else. And you have so many beautiful tones here. And also I feel like this is their best shimmer formula. And I think this was before they reformulated. Or was this the first one after they reformulated their shimmer? I don't know, but I don't have a palette from them that would have so many beautiful shimmers that all genuinely are like my favorite formulas from Nomad. Maybe it's also the fact that there's not that many shimmers. They're just great. So this is the Fuji 5 Lakes, and then I have the Nomad Fairy Tale Europe palette. This is so pretty. I love this theming and I love the color story. It's mostly a shimmer palette, and I think that's the reason why like some of the shimmers are genuinely incredible. Like some of the shimmers are the best formula that Nomad has ever created, but because there are so many shimmers and obviously shimmers are more expensive than matte shades, I feel like they needed to put some of the like less interesting shimmers to make the cost of this palette not too high, because also this is one of the bigger palettes. They do 15 pans and 18 pan palettes. So this is obviously 18 pan, and I think it's their most expensive palette that they've had, or it was definitely one of the more expensive ones because of the amount of shimmers. So most of them are really, really pretty. But there's like this dark blue. I don't need the dark shimmers to be too sparkly, so I'm quite okay with this. This one could be more interesting. Sorry, this one could be more interesting. This one also, like, it's light, so it's nice, but it could be actually sparkly. This is more like a metallic, slightly satiny. And also this one, but it's a dark shade, so I can forgive that. So, you know, it's not... Oh, and also this gold one, like, this one is very sparkly, but this one, I don't know. Honestly, I would even appreciate if this wasn't here and if we had like different color, because you're gonna get similar effect. This one is just slightly more like bright, but I don't know. It's great. Like, I genuinely love this palette, but it just doesn't stand a chance compared to the Fuji 5 Lakes. So this one is moving to the second round. Then okay, we still have multiple palettes to go through. So there's the Elements of Evil from Sugar Drizzle. It's mostly a shimmer palette, and the Chicago Speakeasy from Nomad. Okay, so here we have the Elements of Evil from Sugar Drizzle. You have 4 mattes and the rest are shimmers. Is it 4 mattes? No, 5 mattes, sorry. And this is a 12 pan palette, if I count correctly. I love these shades. I love how it's like a pastel version of a Halloween color story, and all of these shimmers are so beautiful. I genuinely love this color story. It's very fun. I haven't used this one yet this year, but I have it on my table, so I will use it in the next week. Hopefully, I have a couple of palettes that I want to kind of go through and use them a bit, just to have fun with that. And this one is truly beautiful. So that's the Sugar. This is my only palette from them, because I don't know if it's this packaging as well, but they usually use AI for their packaging and I'm not okay with that. I don't know if this palette was created the same way, because it launched a while ago and back then it wasn't that common to use AI, but also there are, like, I don't know, it could be, it also might not be, I don't know, but a lot of their recent palettes were used with AI, so, or at least that's the speculation. I don't know if they confirmed it, but they also have never really credited any artist, if I like remember correctly. And then we have the Nomad Chicago Speakeasy. This palette, I just bought it to like see what the shimmer formula would be like, because this is one of the newer, like the first palettes with the newer formula. And I wasn't sure if I'm gonna like it because it's quite a neutral color story, but before I bought it, I duped this color story and I had such a great time with it. So I decided to actually get the palette. It's so good. I had it in my Project 20 uses at the beginning of the year and it's so easy to use. It's so nice. It's actually really beautiful. Even though like you have these warm neutrals with like this beautiful pistachio green. Love that. And then you have these kind of gray shades, and these grays are very like pinky purpley leaning, which is great because that it looks more like lavendery, like a dusty lavender on me, and I do like shades like that. The shimmers are beautiful. Yeah, this one is so pretty. It's very pretty, but can it really compare to the Elements of Evil? Obviously this has even better shimmer formula, but like not by a lot. Like they actually, I think it's because there's not that many shimmers in this Chicago palette, so they actually made them really nice. But I still think I'm gonna have to give it to the Elements of Evil because I genuinely love this color story and this formula, and also maybe it might be just my mood as well. So that's for this one. And unfortunately, Chicago is returning back to my collection. Next two palettes are gonna be the Gospel palette from Beauty Moons Cosmetics. It's a collab with my friend Philip. And then the Wilma Finger Dew, which is another collab with Beauty Moon. So we're gonna have two Beauty Moon palettes. Okay. So Gospel was my first time trying Beauty Moons. I was actually sent this by Philip to try it. It's a beautiful rainbowy color story. And it's really pretty. I love the shades, love the shimmers here as well. My only problem with this one, I haven't used it this year, I think, or maybe just once. But my problem is this shade, which is beautiful shade. It's this kind of raspberry, like lighter raspberry shade. This one hard pans for me, and I've tried to like you know how you do the trick with tape so that you get the hard pan bits off? It doesn't work because then the next time I would use it, it would hard pan again. So this shade is pretty much like unusable for me. And then this white, if I remember that correctly, it's too, or is it the shade Mandy? One of these two is like too light, so it almost looks more like a transparent powder on me, more than an eyeshadow. But the rest of the shades are genuinely great. I've used this yellow a lot. And also this pink shimmer. Beautiful shades. It's a great formula. It's, again, very inexpensive. Formula Beauty Moons is another brand that creates very inexpensive palettes, and they're quite nice. It's not like the best formula. I have better brands both for shimmers and for mattes. I think they're kind of more like a middle ground, you know, like they're just good. But for the price, like that's kind of what you want. And I like their color stories and I like what they do. So that's this one. And then we have the Wilma Finger Dew. And this one came out a year later, so this year. or was it 2 years later? No, I think it's a year later. I'm, you know, confused when it comes to time. I'm not very good at remembering what happened when, and I'm a historian, so that's a great skill to have. This one is a little bit more like a neon version of the Gospel palette. You have a couple neutrals here as well, which I wouldn't need them, especially with like neon shades, but whatever. You have more shimmers here, and I would say that the shimmer formula improved. With this one, like, it's even better, and the matte formula definitely improved. It's still not as incredible as, like, I don't know, a Blend Bunny or Cosmic Beauty or something like that, but it's a really nice formula. And yeah, so maybe it's just the fact that this is newer, but even from what I remember when I first tried the Gospel palette, I would have to say this one just because the formula is better. Color story wise, I think I like the Gospel a little bit more. Yeah, I think I like the Gospel a little bit more, but you have a lot of similar shades. Let me actually show them side by side and you will see that like the Gospel is just like more pastel-y version of it, but otherwise they're so similar. And yeah, a very similar color story. So since the Wilma is better formula, I'm just gonna have to pick that one, even though it's not that used. Like I definitely used it a lot less than the Gospel palette, but also I've had this for a longer time. So the Gospel is going back to my collection, and the next two palettes will be Beauty Bay Mini Charms against The Little Ghost by Udden's Eye. It's a collab with Angelica Nyquist. So the Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette is one of my Pendos palettes for this year. So just warning, it looks very beaten up. It's an all shimmer 9-pan palette. A lot of these shimmers are more like an iridescent duochrome shade. They're not too impactful, but also it's Beauty Bay. It was very inexpensive and it's a nice formula. I use most of these lighter ones for face highlighter like almost every day. I also use them a lot in the inner corner or under my brows as a brow bone like highlight. And yeah, I've used this one a lot, but it's an all shimmer palette and it functions more as a face palette for me than an eye palette. And then we have the Little Ghost palette from Udden's Eye. This cover art is so gorgeous, like it inspires me so much because I love how you have these like little different colors that are blending into each other. Like I just always pick a part of this packaging and just look at the like ombre there, and those are the colors that I would use. Like sometimes I'm really into these, sometimes into like this portion here. Like it just inspires me a lot. It's a beautiful palette, and this is the color story, so it's very Halloweeny. I haven't used it yet, but I will use it in the next couple of days. I really want to before autumn ends. I would like to at least no pen left behind this one. You have beautiful blue shades, like these very denim-y blues, then these really rich purples, these beautiful kind of peachy neutrals with these beautiful like pinky shades, stunning neon yellow shade, this very interesting like plummy brown. Yeah, I enjoy this color story so much, and even though I love shimmers, this is not the best shimmer from like it's good, but it's, again, I use it more on my face than on my eyes, and there's a reason for it. It's not that it doesn't look nice on the eyes, I just have better formulas for the eyes, but again, this is Beauty Bay, so I don't expect the same thing from them as from like Bella Beauty Bar or even Udden's Eye. And this one also has beautiful matte shades and a great color story for me, so this one wins. And let's get going. So okay, the Sheen Effect Chameleon something, it's a Chinese brand, so I don't fully remember the name of the palette. And then the Ice Maiden, which is my last palette from Beauty Moon. So this is the Sheen Effect palette. It's a small 9-pan palette, and you have like pinks, neutrals, and then kind of tealy, inky shades. And the beautiful shimmers. The shimmers are genuinely gorgeous. You have even like a holochrome here. Stunning formula. Like it was so inexpensive as well. I don't know how they did this. But this one is great. I slightly I'm not a fan of the packaging. I mean, it's cute that it's like this, but it's quite bulky that way. And like you don't need this strange flop that doesn't do anything. So the mirror could have been bigger and just have like one part that opens and closes. Like it's just too complicated with this and too bulky. That's my only like criticism about this one. And then we have the Beauty Moons Ice Maiden, and it's a very blue, cool toned palette. I do like the matte here. I like some of the shimmers. Some of them are too lackluster for me. Like these two are more like satiny, and I usually use them on my face instead of my eyes. The same goes for this one, but I don't use this on my face because it's too dark. And some of these feel kind of dry. I don't know. I'm sure it was Sugar Plum, and then I don't know if it was this one or this green. One of them felt quite dry and gritty. But then some of them are also like super emollient, like these two, this one. So it's very, like they have a lot of different finishes and effects in this palette. I mean, this one is beautiful, but the formula is a lot nicer with the sheen effect. And I might like the color story a little bit more in the sheen effect palette. Again, this could be seasonal. Like if I were to film this in January, I think some of these might get a little bit different score. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick this one. So the sheen effect wins for now. It's moving to the second round, and this one is going back to my collection. Then we don't have that many palettes to go through. So we have the Liana palette from Shall We Makeup, which is another one of my Pendos palettes. And then it's going against the Glamlight Lord of the Rings collab, which is called like the Middle Earth palette, I believe. And this is going to be very easy to decide because this is the Shall We Makeup Liana palette. It's a small 4-pan palette, which was like all greens, and this shade was a multichrome going from like a yellow to green, like yellow, orange, green to red. It was very interesting shade, but I didn't really enjoy it with the other shades in this palette. As I said, this is my Panda palette for this year, or one of them. I'm obviously getting some progress with this one, but it's a small little palette, so I don't think it really, like, I never pick these small mini palettes. They just don't offer enough of fun and different tones because of the size. And then the Lord of the Rings Middle Earth palette from Glamlight. This is a 20-pan palette. It is also quite green, but you also have grays, purples, and a little bit of neutrally shades. So this one wins. It's not my favorite palette in my collection, but it's a very good palette. It could be edited down a little bit. Maybe some of these are a little too similar, but also I liked all the looks that I created with this one. So that's the Middle Earth, and I love Lord of the Rings. I'm such a fanatic when it comes to that. I've seen all the movies, I've read all the books so many times. So it's like one of my favorite series that I've ever read. So next up we have the Route 66 from Nomad and I don't know why it corrected it to It's, but it's called This the Season from Cosmic Beauty. So this one from Nomad, I was actually sent this in PR. I don't receive PR from them. It was just like a one-time thing, and they also gave me code with this. I don't earn any money from that code. It's just for you to use. I think you're getting 10% off, and yeah, hopefully one day Nomad will notice me and send me their PR eventually. But this is how it looks like. It's kind of like for me, it looks very summer to autumn type of color story because you have these neutral tones with some of these like mustardy and tealy shades. I do really enjoy this color story. Like the look of it is gorgeous. Again, very similar for all my Nomad palettes. The shimmers could be better, and even though this is one of their newer palettes, it came out this year, like before summer, I believe. It doesn't have the best shimmer formula. Like, it's not that it's the old shimmer formula. You just don't really have any like sparkly shades. It's just one of those like metallic soft shades that they create. Like, it's a very soft formula. There's no little particles. You can't really feel anything on the eyes, which is great, but it doesn't sparkle. You know, the bigger the particles, the more it sparkles, and that's what I want. And you don't need like big particles. Even this shade that I have, which is from Makeup Beauty Shop, it's such a smooth shade, like genuinely smooth, super tiny little flecks of sparkle, but it creates such a beautiful effect on the eyes, and still I don't feel it at all. But the effect is a lot nicer compared to, for example, this shade, which could look very similar on the eyes, but it doesn't, because it's just this. Which again could be what some people want, but I don't really want that. I would prefer like the formula that you have with the Fuji palette or the like Chicago palette or like Fairy Tale Europe, some of the shades there. So I love this as a color story. I love the way it looks. I love the ideas that I get whenever I look at this color story. The mattes are gorgeous, and the shimmers I usually would top them with something more interesting. So that's the Route 66. And then we have the Tis the Season from Cosmic Beauty. This was their holiday launch for last year, and I mean, obviously this is gonna win. It's so pretty. You have so many different options. I love this kind of cranberry little field over here. Like, I don't know, I just think of cranberries when I see this. It's so pretty. Like, this 9 pen is gorgeous. You have a lot of different combinations here. Also, this 9 pen in this area, so pretty. You can put divide it into like 4 pen little palettes. All of them will look absolutely stunning and create gorgeous little color stories. I love this little 4 pen here with like the kind of peachy neutral shades and these beautiful purpley shades. So many different options here, and I love this one. So this one is moving forward. And what else? I think we have like 10 more options, right? So we have the Cosmic Crypt. I don't know why it corrected it like that, which is from Sinful Echoes, and it's going against the Salem palette from Nomad Cosmetics. Both of these are Halloweeny palettes. This one is a small, kind of reddish 6-pan palette. Yeah, 6-pan palette. This was my first palette that I've tried from Sinful Echoes. I have tried a couple of their singles. I love their singles. They're great. And the shimmers in this palette are also wonderful. Their mattes they kind of remind me the Beauty Moons formula. So it's a little bit, they feel slightly drier than other brands that I have, and they aren't as pigmented. And for me, on my complexion, these two, like this one didn't show up as pigmented, so it looked more like this one. But the matte black was kind of okay. It's not my favorite matte black. I have way better ones, but it's okay. Also, this is a red color story, and I don't normally, even though today could like prove me otherwise, I don't normally like red shades, and I don't like them in this palette too much because it's just too dark, it's too bloody, it doesn't look good on me. And even though it's a cool palette to have for Halloween, I was considering like decluttering this one so many times. I'm still keeping it, and I might keep it for next year, but I'm not very sure. Like, if I'll find someone who wants this, I have absolutely no problem getting rid of this one, but only if I'll find someone who actually wants this. So if any of you would like the smaller one, it's not that it's a bad quality, and the shimmers are so nice. I think that's the only thing that's keeping me from decluttering this or even like giving it to somebody else is the shimmers. I don't really need this red shimmer because it's that kind of like red to gold to green, kind of like the one from the Liana palette that I talked about. That one I wouldn't need here, but the other two are really pretty. Anyways, if anyone would want this, I'm willing to give it away. And then my newest palette from Nomad is the Salem Witch City. This is a beautiful palette. It has the lenticular packaging as some of their other palettes, and I think it's a perfect Halloween color story. You have these like murky, stormy colors, and then this like pumpkiny colors. I do like this one. It's definitely a great palette that they've released. Again, there are a couple shimmers here that could be better quality, but some of them are genuinely nice, and like they really surprised me with how nice they looked and felt. And this one I do like a lot more. Again, there are some there are some red shades, but I don't mind them in this color story because I can always blend them with this orangey shade, which looks beautiful, or even with a couple other shades here. So this one is a clear winner for these two palettes. And then so the Harvest of Souls from Fantasy Cosmetica was my highest ranked palette last year, and I did my like yearly ranking. And then we have the Galactic Visitor from Cindy Beauty, which I think is gonna be in my top 3 palettes for this year. So okay, let me get those. Why do I get like my favorite palettes battling each other? Like, why can it be like one palette that I really like and one that I don't like as much? It would make this so much easier. So first up is the Fantasy Cosmetica Dark Harvest of Souls. This was my first palette from Fantasy Cosmetica that I've purchased, and it's so pretty. Like, you have these beautiful, deep, rich purples, these grungy, mustardy greens, this beautiful, light, pastel-y kind of pistachio green, some beautiful blue shades, these tealy shades. This is such a pretty color story. It's very much like a deep, grungy palette of my dreams. I adore this one. I genuinely adore this one. I loved all of my looks. The formulas are amazing. Both the shimmers and the mattes are genuinely gorgeous. And then we have the Cindy Beauty Galactic Visitor. Also my first time trying Cindy Beauty because this was their first palette that they've ever released. And now I think they have 3. Yeah, they have this one and the Agate Temptation, or how it was called. And now they have the Paisley hood. This one is so pretty. It's again like it's everything that I would want. You have the yellows, the peaches, the kind of like denim-y blues, teals. It's so great. And I like that the Cindy Beauty goes slightly lighter. Like, you can still deepen up. You have enough deep options, but you also have light options. So you can kind of really create like a nice ombre effect. This one is a little bit darker. Oh, but it's so pretty, and the shades are so gorgeous. And like, the shimmer formula will be probably slightly better for the Fantasy Cosmetica, but some of the shimmers in the Cinch palette are very, 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 very beautiful. I think color story wise, this is what I'll always reach for more. Even though I genuinely love the Harvest of Souls and every single look that I've created with it was beyond beautiful, I don't actually reach for this palette that often. I think it's the fact that it's very dark, so I sometimes forget that there are enough light options to blend out the dark shades, but it always looks too dark when I first open it. So yeah, the Cinch Beauty wins. And I just love that one, okay? Then, we only have a couple palettes left. Okay, so we have the Trick or Treat from Odenside. This is another Angelica Nyquist collab palette. And then the Laguna from Glam Shop. So the Trick or Treat palette is kind of like the perfect autumnal palette. You have greens, reds, oranges. It's a very, very autumnal palette. But what I mention every single time that I talk about this palette is, for me, this is very, like, I don't want to say unimpressive because it is a really pretty color story, but I never remember that I have this. It's too like bland for me. So I never actually remember that I could also use this. And I think it's also the fact that when I want to use orangey reds, I think of other palettes than this. When I want to use greens, I have so many other green palettes. So I also never really think of this. And then what else am I gonna use from this palette? I do love this shimmer. Sometimes when I want to use shimmer like this, I do remember that I have this palette, but I also have very similar shimmer in a corner shade in my the Winter Wonderland palette from Cosmic Beauty. It's the shade Frost or Frosty or something like that, and so I usually reach for that one. And that's it for this palette, but it's gorgeous. All the shades are amazing. It looks great. I love my looks with it. I just always forget that I own this one. And then the Glam Shop Laguna. This one is a beautiful night pan. I don't have one shade because it's shattered, and then I have a pan in another one. And this is such a great color story. You have teals with oranges, which is amazing combination. If you've never tried that, go for it. It's amazing. And it's great formula. The mattes are very beautiful. They look great. I mean, you only have two, but they are really pretty. And the shimmers are so sparkly and so beautiful. And because I enjoy this formula so much and the color story so much, it just is something that I don't really have in my collection. I'm gonna let this one get into second round. It probably will be eliminated in the second round because just looking at what I have in front of me, but out of these two, I think I like this one more, and I remember that I have this one, unlike the Trick or Treat. But it doesn't mean that the palette is bad. Like, I genuinely think it's amazing. I'm just, it's too similar to everything else that I have. Then the Haggard palette. This is the Ecstasy of Saintess palette. I just didn't want it to write the full name. And I only have one palette from Haggard, so this was easy. And then the All I Ever Wanted from Unearthly, which is an all shimmer palette. So the Haggard Ecstasy of Saintess, this was actually sent to me in PR. Then they sent me two palettes. I only have this one. I gave the other one to my friend, I believe. I think somebody wanted that one from me, so I just gave that away because it was kind of neutral with like one blue shimmer. And then I have this one. This one was my level 5 palette in the Project Level Up, so it has pans in every single shade. Normally I would probably not pan this because, I mean, I always say that I don't like pinks, but I actually kind of like them. I just never remember to actually wear pinks. I don't have that many palettes with pinks, and I never really think about using pink eyeshadows, but whenever I do, I actually really like the way it looks. These ones are great. It's a wonderful formula. The mattes are so smooth and creamy, and the shimmers look really nice on the eyes, and they're very, like, they have a really good formula that doesn't crease. Sometimes I would forget to wear like shimmer primer with these, and they don't crease at all. And I do have quite oily hooded eyelids, so This is a great formula, but it's a small 5-pan palette and it's a monochromatic palette. And then we have the Unearthly All I Ever Wanted palette, which is a 12-pan all shimmer palette. So, you know, slightly hard to like decide between these two, because one is a small palette, which I normally don't go towards, and one is, or gravitate towards, and the other one is all shimmer, which I do sometimes use, but I usually don't use just shimmers for my looks. This one is so pretty though. There are like two or three shades that I don't really use too much. One is Blood Moon. I don't really like deep red shimmers. And then these two are very similar shades, like these two pinky ones. It's just that this one goes to like taupey shade, and then this one into this like rusty orange. So I don't really like the Witch's Brew. It's just not a shift that I enjoy. And then this one, because it's again kind of a rusty orange going into more like a champagne-y color, and again it's not a shade that I enjoy. It seems too neutral, and then I don't like the rusty effect there. But the other ones are so pretty. I have 2 pans here. One was natural, one was because I chose that for my Pando's eyeshadows, but I would hit a pan on the blue shade anyways because it's great and I love to use that. And this one's gonna win. It's going to the round 2 because it's just a great palette. And it's more versatile than this for sure. Even some of the, like I can use some of these dark shades like this dark blue or this dark purple kind of as a matte shade in my crease, because they're quite sparkly if you layer them, but if you blend them out, they have enough of a dark base to act more like a crease shade, like almost like a matte shade if you blend them out well. So I can kind of do a full look with this, even though they are all shimmer shades. And then we have the Delicious Delights from Cosmic Beauty, which is my favorite Cosmic Beauty palette, like for sure. And the Night Terror palette from Unearthly, which is a small 9-pan palette. So this is the Delicious Delights. It's so pretty. It's a like pastel-y palette. You have some deeper options as well, so you can do a full look, even though it looks very pastel-y. And the shimmers here are beautiful. This is my first palette that I ever purchased from Cosmic Beauty, and I adore this. As I said, it's my favorite Cosmic Beauty palette. It's so great. The mattes are so good, and I could use this every single day. Like if this was permanently on my table, I would use it all day, every day. And you have some really beautiful tones here, like this kind of butter yellow, then this kind of very bubblegum pink. I love this pistachio green. The white is amazing. Then this like gingerbready brownie orange, also very cute. And then this ice pop, again like very icy, almost steely blue. I just really like this. It's a great color story and I love all my looks with these. And then the Unearthly Night Terror palette. This was their collection for Halloween last year, of course. And it's kind of very purpley pinky palette. I do like that it's not just a purple, but you have kind of this more like a denim-y blue, then this very bright pinky shade, then this like rosy pink. So even though it's a purple, like a monochromatic purple palette, you have so many different tones and options that you can choose, and it actually gives you a lot of variety. And that's what I love about Unearthly, that they usually can create color stories that can stretch so much and you can do so much with them. The two shimmers do look kind of similar. One pulls more pink and one pulls more like purple blue, but otherwise they are quite similar on the eye. So I wouldn't mind a little bit more variety in the shimmers here, but it's still a great palette. If this was against other palettes in my collection that I maybe don't gravitate towards as much, this would definitely win. But I have to give it to the Delicious Delights. It's my baby. It's the love of my life. I'm gonna pan this one eventually, like I'm gonna use it up at some point because it's too good not to. And then last couple palettes. So we have the Wolfa palette from Shelby Makeup, which is another small palette, and then we have the Avatar: The Last Airbender Earth palette from Lidl. Okay, so this is the Wolfa palette. I recently used it for a look that I quite enjoyed. It's a very autumnal color story. It's very like warm, mustardy neutral shades with this red and then this beautiful, it looks like goldy teal, but it actually looks very gold green on the eyes. At least for me, it never really looks tealy. It's not a bad formula. I do really enjoy this formula, but you usually only get like 1 or 2 looks out of this. Some like it either, I would either use all of the shades or I would skip this one and use this one all over the lid and just slightly deepen it up in the outer corner with this kind of army green shade. So it looks very similar. So it's kind of like a very one-trick pony type of palette. And then you have the Avatar: The Last Airbender Earth palette from Lidl Cosmetics. This is the only Lidl palette that we haven't talked about yet. And this one is so pretty. I know it's an all green palette, but I love that you have this really vibrant green, then kind of like a tealy, cool tone green. You have brown, you have this beautiful green, you have this kind of peach to green to gold inner corner shade that looks beautiful. Then this kind of reddish brown shimmer. I love this one, and they're both kind of like a one-trick pony, but I like this formula a lot more, and it's something that I reach for a lot more as well. So the Earth palette will be moving to the next round. How many palettes do we have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think, if I count correctly. So we have the Basic Witch from Bella Beauty Bar, which is one of the newest palettes in my collection. I haven't hauled it yet in my monthly haul. And then the Ocean Jewel, also from Bella Beauty Bar. I only have 2 palettes from them, and these are the 2. So that's interesting. So both of these are absolutely gorgeous, and if they were paired with other palettes in this first round, they would both move towards the second round because I love the quality, I love the formulas. So I think first was the Basic Witch, right? As I said, one of the newest palettes in my collection. It's very pinky orange with some of these like more green colors, so it looks beautiful. I just like saw it again and realized how pretty this is. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. Like, it's great. It's incredible. It's one of the best palettes I've ever tried. But then we also have the Ocean Jewel palette. This one is a 15 pan and the Ocean Jewel is a 20 pan, I believe. Yeah, 20 pan. This one is like a purple, teal, blue with some neutrals and kind of like yellowy shades. And I love this. This is such a perfect like mermaidy color story. I wish this is what the Beauty Below palette from Cosmic Beauty would look like. Like, this is perfect. You have like really dark shades, some beautiful midtones, and beautiful light shades and like really bright shades. The shimmers also go from like really light to dark. I only have like one really inner corner type shade in this palette, but also there's a lot of light matte shades, so I don't mind using matte in my inner corner. It's completely fine. Yeah, this one is amazing, and I need to pick this one. It's such a great palette, and I don't really have a lot of palettes like this, and I love these color stories. So my inner mermaid just needs to have this one in the second round. And unfortunately, the Basic Witch is not going into the next round. Then we have the Haunted palette from Gourmand Girls. I think it's the only Gourmand Girl palette we haven't talked about yet. And then the Salmonette 2, like the original Salmonette 2 from Odin's Eye, which is my Panda palette for this year. So the Haunted palette is it my newest Gourmand Girls palette in my collection? I guess it is because I decluttered one of the newer ones. So this is the Haunted palette. So fun. And this is the color story inside. Really beautiful, really Halloweeny, but also very autumnal. I once opened this palette and realized that it kind of looks like the Subculture from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I never had that palette, but I've seen that palette a lot with like other people's like declutters and makeup collections. And one day I opened this one and I realized that some of these, especially the matte shades, are kind of similar to the Subculture palette. And now every single time I look at it, I see the Subculture. It's not like a dupe necessarily, but it just has that vibe, and that is very autumnal, grungy, very fun. And then I have the Salmonette 2 from Odin's Eye, one of my Pendos palettes for this year. So as you can see, I mean, it had a lot of pans, even like, or it had some pans at the beginning of this year, and it was very, very used at the beginning of this year. So I was just kind of focusing on it to expand the pans and create some more this year. It's a great color story, and I really like this one because it has some really light shades, some really dark shades. I have inner corner shades here, I have highlighter shades, both on my eyes and my face, and they still look really nice. Obviously, Odin's Eye has slightly nicer formula now, but it greases a little bit more, I've noticed. Not necessarily on me, but I've noticed for a lot of people, the new formula from Odin's Eye is a little bit more greasy than they used to have. But it's also slightly more sparkly or shiny, like wet looking. Which one am I gonna pick? I do like the fact that the Salmona has like a lighter pastelier shades to blend out with. And I'm generally all year round more into these type of shades than this. Like I still will wear this a lot all year round, but this is more of a autumnal palette, and this is like an all year round palette for me. So I'm gonna choose the Salmon one. Am I really? Now I'm kind of questioning myself. Yeah, I feel like this offers slightly more than the Haunted palette. Just slightly. But yeah, I think so. So I'm moving this one to the second round. And I'm gonna get the Haunted palette back into my collection. Now, is it the second to last? No, we have a couple more, right? So the Sorbeti palette from Glam Shop, I have that right next to me. And then the Pooh, like the Winnie the Pooh palette from Colourpop, I have that right behind me. So, one very pretty, one very nostalgic. You can guess which one is which. So, the Gourmand Girls Sorbeti palette. This is a beautiful kind of spring to summer palette. The shimmers here are to die for. Like, they're so gorgeous. That's gonna be like a polar opposite of the Winnie the Pooh palette. And you have some beautiful mattes. It is a little bit restricted with the matte shades, and you're gonna get very similar crease looks most of the time, but I love the shimmers here. I do use it a lot for the shimmers. It was on 3 of my vacations, because I just know that I can reach into any of these shimmers and I'll always have a beautiful look. And I have so many different options here, like you have yellows, oranges, kind of red shades, blues, purples, tealy greens, and then kind of pinky shades. So pretty much any color that I could want, I have here. And then we have the Winnie the Pooh palette from Colourpop. It's a beautiful palette. It's one of the oldest palettes in my collection. And it was my first Colourpop palette. No, I had the Blue Moon. I got that around the same time, I believe. Now I'm not so sure which one was first, but this one is beautiful. I love the color story. Obviously, it's very nostalgic. The matte shades, some of them are really nice, but the shimmers are very lackluster, and that's kind of what Colourpop is known for. At least I've never heard about people like raving about their shimmer formula, and if they do, it's usually people who just prefer matte looks, so they don't like shimmers anyways. Yeah, so I mean, I have more options when it comes to the matte shades, like I can do more looks, but I mean, we have a brown, which is also in the Sorbeti palette, we have a yellow, which is also in the Sorbeti palette, and then we have kind of like pinky, which is also in the Sorbeti palette. So what we really only have is this deep berry, like plummy shade, and then this kind of reddish brown. Those are like the only difference. Yeah, I'm gonna put this back to my collection and Sorbeti. That one will go to the second round, which makes sense. I think it would be weird if this pad wouldn't be in the second round. Like, it would have to battle against, like, I don't know, like the Bella Beauty Bar palettes, for example. So now we have the Undergrowth palette from Cosmic Beauty and the Witch of Wildflower from Diavrune. It's like a 9-pan palette. I think this is gonna be a similar story as with the Ireland palette from Nomad. So this is the Cosmic Beauty Undergrowth. It's a beautiful green palette, and it's not just a green palette. You have some yellows, oranges, browns, but it's very green heavy. This is kind of what I would want the Nomad Ireland to be. Like, you have some other colors here. It all pulls very green, obviously, also because the green border, but you also have variety. Some of these shimmers look kind of similar, like most of them are very goldy, and either it's like a goldy green or goldy bronze. So, you know, slightly repetitive, but it's definitely better than the Nomad palette. And the formula is, of course, incredible, like it's Cosmic Beauty. But then we have the Diavrune Witch of the Wildflower. And this is a 9-pan, but it actually offers so much. Like, you have yellows, greens, purples, beautiful matte formula, beautiful shimmer formula. This was my first Diavrune palette. I only have two. I have this one and then the Smitten palette. And this one just offers more, so I'm gonna have to pick this one. I just really like it. The formulas, I think, are just as wonderful, but this just, like, I always think if I were to use these for a week straight, just these palettes, I would have more fun with this than the Undergrowth, even though I would love all the looks with the Undergrowth palette, but it's the same for this one, and I would actually get some variety. So that's the Witch of the Wildflower. And then our last two palettes. So I mean, I can roll, but it's just the last two palettes, which is the Lovesick, and I couldn't read what was the second one, so let's just let it roll. And it's the Wicked palette from REM Beauty. I also have one palette that I haven't included in this because I haven't tested it yet. The same for the Rotten palette that I have on my eyes today. Like, I just started using it today, so I don't want to include palettes that I can only judge based on color story, and one of those is even formula that I've never tried before. So I'm gonna get the last two palettes. Okay, so the Wicked palette I've only used once before, so I haven't No Pen Left Behind it yet. I'm gonna use it for my last look with this, like for to like use all the shades. I'm gonna use it tomorrow so that I have completed my No Pen Left Behind. And it's beautiful. It's very earthy toned, very like green and earthy shades. You have this pop of like kind of purpley blue, and then this like pinky going into silvery, slightly taupey shade. Like it's actually really pretty. And so far the shades that I've tried, which is like around half of this palette, mattes were so buttery smooth and the shimmers are very sparkly. This formula is made in Italy and it's a great formula. And I love how like sturdy this palette is. I definitely feel like I don't have to worry about breaking it. And then we have the Wicked Widow Lovesick palette, which is a beautiful 8-pan like pinky palette. But even though it's pinky, like you have this very purpley light shade, you have brown, you have these berries, you have this like deep blue to purple, you have this kind of goldy green inner corner shade. So it's very interesting color story. And they're both like very much monochromatic, so it's hard to choose. I have more shades in the REM, but they're also kind of similar, they're just different depth. And a lot of them are kind of neutrally. Which one am I like realistically? I wouldn't reach for the REM as often because I have so many green palettes and I like to rotate through my palettes. Whereas this one is a little bit more unique because, as I've stated earlier, I don't really have that many pink palettes. Like I have this one, I have the Haggard palette, and those are all of my pink palettes. And then I have a couple pink shades like randomly splattered across my collection. But like if I want to do a like pink look, I can use this. I can use the Haggard, and then I don't know. Then I would have to really search my collection. Obviously, I have some pinks in the Delicious Delights, which is usually the first spot that I remember to use for pinks because I know that I have kind of the entire rainbow there. I think because this is more unique in my collection, and the formula matte shades are just as wonderful. Maybe the REM are a little bit more creamy, but I think on the eyes they look just as gorgeous. And the shimmer formula, this one is more like shifty, right? Because these ones are more, some of them are slightly shifty, but not all of them. I think it's only the two lightest shades, like the soft green and the soft purpley blue. Those are shifty, otherwise they're more like a standard shimmers. So I'm gonna go with the Lovesick palette. And now we've, oh wait, I just realized. I don't know how I could forget, but I have this one small ZC palette, and since this one is like an uneven number, I'm just gonna automatically move this to the round 2 and it's gonna compete with the other palettes. So this is a small little quad. It's like pinky orange, very like lesbian flag themed. And this is the Colorful Animal 4-color eyeshadow in the version X03. It's a cute little one. So this one is gonna automatically move to the second round, and I think I'm gonna take a photo of the flat lay of all of the palettes that are moving to the second round, and I'm gonna change the wheel. I'm just gonna delete all the options that we've eliminated in this round, and I'm gonna have it prepared for when I'm gonna film the round 2, which I think I could do round 2 in one video. I mean, how many palettes do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I think 34, if I'm counting correctly. So, can I do that in one video? I think I can. So, next part of this will be just round 2, and then we'll see. But this was really enlightening, and now looking at the pile, I can definitely say that those are my favorite palettes. I think there's like maybe one or two palettes now, like looking at the entire pile, that I wouldn't assume would be here, and they are here mostly just because they were battling against palettes that I liked even less, or that were less exciting for me, or maybe they were just too small, whatever the case might be. But otherwise, all of the ones I'm looking at, I'm genuinely thinking like, yeah, those are the highest ranked palettes in my collection. Like if I were to pick my top 34, like these would probably be there. Yeah, like some of my favorite palettes are in front of me, which makes sense, and it's really nice to it's just nice that I had this option to like really think about it and see, because I would eventually like to rank. I mean, I did like my top 10 palettes in my collection. I think I filmed that ranking around summertime, but I would like to revisit that and maybe film like my top 20 palettes or something like that. And it's nice to have this collection kind of at the back of my head, so that I can always like pull from that and remember that these were the ones that I should think about. I'm kind of sad that we don't have the Clear Nuts on Top of the World and the Basic Witch palette from Bella Beauty Bar. I think those would also deserve to be in the second round. And I'm trying to see what else would I like there. But I feel like we do have like the best palettes here. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too long, but I'm not gonna look at the recording time because I know it's long and I'm really hungry right now. But let me know what you thought about this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Write down below what's your favorite palette from your collection, and like this video if you want to see the next round. So have a wonderful day, and I will link Sophie Alexandra down below because that's where I've learned about this project. I don't know if you created that. I think she was inspired by somebody else, but I got this idea from her. So I'm just gonna link her channel down below, so make sure to check her out. She's incredible, and I hope you've had a wonderful day, and I'll be super happy to see you tomorrow for another video. So bye.